I'm Alexander Surya-Jayani. It's 10:58 a.m., August 27th. All the right-hand penguin duck birthmark. I've been talking about this for a while now. I've been writing to the UN, the CIA, the Department of Justice, all sorts of law enforcement about these terrorists. And a lot of their technology revolves around implantation. And what they're using implantation for is they're using it to influence the human nervous system. They're trying to influence feelings, emotions, how you think. They're trying to influence memory. Some of the things they're trying to do with memory is trying to perform covert witness tampering and even dumb down society so they become more malleable and easier to take advantage of. They're also using technology involving memory to abuse people into compliance. If you can't remember stuff, you can't really run it. You can't really work. You can't do a job because you need to remember things at work, and then sometimes new systems and new tools at work are introduced, and in order to utilize them, you need to be able to learn. And without memory, you can't learn. If you can't formulate a new memory, you can't learn something. So they also use these memory devices for knee bending tactics. They also are using neuromodulation, and they're using neuromodulation to influence your feelings and how you feel. They can use it for various applications. They can use it to create false senses of connection and liking. They can use it to influence voting. And a problem with this tech is they can introduce this technology into your system covertly and use this process called implantation, where they can implant these devices into your nervous system covertly and you won't even know. And they can interact with these implantable devices through a computer and influence your nervous system and how you feel about things, and influence neurotransmitter levels, firing patterns, all sorts of jazz. Because if you're influencing how neurons fire, you're also influencing neurotransmitter release. And depending on the way they influence firing can probably influence the amount of neurotransmitter released, which these things all play a role in feelings, emotions, behavior, etc. Regardless, so they're using neuromodulation to influence feelings, emotions. There probably various applications could be for manipulating votes and, potentially implanting people and then influencing their nervous system to create this false sense of connection and likability to a specific candidate. They can use it to influence laws. They can use neuromodulation and implantation to influence people who are involved with approving laws, and voting on such and introducing them into society. They can either do it through implantation and abuse people into compliance and blackmail and threaten, or just outright abuse them covertly. Or they can even, influence their thinking, their analysis, their processing, their memory, or even just their feeling towards a certain law. Maybe even a certain feeling and likeness towards the person presenting this new law they want to introduce into society. They can use it for other things, creating these false senses of connections. They can use it to infiltrate a community and create a false sense of connection between the infiltrator and someone with key information. And they can use it for truth extraction. So they have a lot of different reasons for this. They could even use it for influencing consumer behavior and influencing the nervous system to try to promote a product to you, and maybe even create these senses of feelings while reading about the product, etc., to make you more likely to purchase the product. They could even influence use this neuromodulation and influence your impulse purchasing habit, and make you more prone to impulse purchasing by just mapping the firing pattern, seeing what occurs when you make an impulse purchase, and then firing those repeatedly while you're viewing products, and you may be more likely to make an impulse purchase. So they can use it for all sorts of stuff, but it's a threat to humanity, a threat to society, and they're not using it for good. They're using it for evil, and they're doing this thing covertly and illegally without informed consent, and they're interacting with human nervous systems with knowing some stuff but not everything. Especially they don't know the consequences. They like to lie and use experts and face people and say it's harmless, but they don't have evidence-based proof to prove this. It could open the doors for things like different forms of cancer. It could open the doors for different forms of neurological conditions, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, various conduction disorders, all sorts of jazz. And they're actually just letting these people put devices in people's body covertly and just playing with people's nervous system like it's no big deal. So it's a big threat, and I can assure you I'm not psychotic. This is real stuff. It's a real threat to humanity, a real threat to society. And there are people who know about it who are actually covering up for these people, whether they're being bribed or blackmailed. And they're being bribed and blackmailed into silence and not reporting this. And there's a lot of people who know about this tech. People I've encountered in life may even know about this tech. They may have even received certain controls that interact with the tech in my body, people I've encountered in life. Maybe even some law enforcement are involved with this project. There's also elements of human programming through this neuromodulation, this implantable devices. They even try to damage certain regions of the brain to see if it makes people more compliant. So they're trying to do what they call compromise, where you follow orders and do things you're told. They call it compromise. So they may be damaging certain regions of the brain, also neuromodulating you, also using psychology, and making false promises to make you more compliant so you can get the gold at the end of the rainbow kind of thing. So they're using psychology as well as neuro manipulation of the neurophysiological systems, or manipulation of the nervous system and psychology, which also can influence the nervous system, but also there's a mental component of it. Um, and They're using these things basically to manipulate people, control people, and try to do what they refer to as human programming. But they're using it for evil. They're trying to rape mankind of their free will. They're using it to make money. They're using it for control and domination, covert abuse, covert assault. So it's a real life threat, and for some reason, it's being ignored, and these kids aren't being arrested. Um, and there are people who know about this threat and they're staying silent, which should be a huge red flag. Either they're involved with these terrorists conspiring to take over the world in this terrorist plot, or they're being blackmailed or bribed or threatened into silence. Because only people, when things threaten humanity, you don't stay silent about things that threaten humanity. These are things to speak about. These are things to report. Only people being blackmailed, bribed, or who are threats to humanity or have more than inhuman stupidity or psychiatric illness wouldn't report things that threaten humanity. So which one are you, if you know what I'm talking about?